Okay, so the newest trailer for the upcoming 5th season of Dragon Prince just dropped, and it's looking really good. So, for those of you that follow my Dragon Prince videos, you'd be aware that the last season, season 4, didn't really tickle my fancy. It just felt undercooked. The story wasn't all that good, the characters and the arcs felt rushed or like they'd regressed. Everything was just stagnant, lots of boring stuff. And the animation also just didn't look as good as I was expecting, and the voice acting was subpar. It's just a shambles for me, honestly. And isn't that just a worrying sign for any fan of any franchise ever? When midway through a banger of a series, the quality of the show just goes way down. But hey, it was still COVID era then. Things were still a mess in many industries. I could accept it. Didn't like it, but I accepted it. But it did have me worried about the direction of the show coming into season 5. There were lots of things that I felt had to be addressed going forward, and my hype for the upcoming season was far lower than it usually would be. But yeah, this trailer then came out, and I'm telling you what, it looks very good. Looks like it's quite story and character heavy. Looks like the tale's starting to get a whole lot darker. We're going to have quite a lot of emotional and dramatic scenes, counterbalanced with some epic action and some battles. And really, what more could you want? Even the animation quality seems to have improved, which is just, yes! I can't tell you how disappointing I found the visuals in season 4. So really, this is the chance for redemption. Now, obviously, you can't judge the true quality of the visuals simply by looking at the trailer, as the trailer often has a little bit more work done to make it look nice. And then you get your hopes up, and then you arrive at streaming the actual show, and it's less than ideal. But I'm hopeful nonetheless that we're going to see some high quality visuals this time around. But those are just general thoughts. And so, now it's time to unpack this trailer scene by scene and see what we can uncover. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, so we start off with some narration by Erebos, imposed over a bunch of different clips, where he basically outlines that whilst he's still the big bad of the show, and that he's likely getting free sometime this season, it seems like Claudia is going to be taking center stage as a pretty major villain, at least for this story. With Erebos praising her power, and expecting she'll be able to solo the hero team, which, big call, but yeah, from what we've seen, I think she can back up those words. And what do you know, surprise, surprise, called it long ago, we're getting that true hardcore Claudia villain arc. I think perhaps she's going to go too far in her quest to save her dad, splitting her off from the heroes quite permanently, and maybe even getting Terry to give her some side eye. We sort of had that last time, where she wasn't even going to give back the coins with Rayla's parents in them, and then Terry guilted her into doing so. So are we going to have that again? Only with nothing Claudia can do to fix it because, maybe she killed someone that she shouldn't have killed. Who knows? And on top of this, I feel like this is the last ride for Viren. Seems to be building to a sacrifice arc and a double cross, where Erebos screws over Claudia, which could lead into a major villain spiral where she goes against both the heroes and Erebos, or maybe even into a Claudia redemption, who knows? Either way, looking like Claudia's finally going to get some significant development as more than just a sidekick or as a comic relief villain. And I'm all here for it. But that's just the narration. We also have the clips to go alongside it. We have our crew assembling on a pretty creepy looking dock in the mist, likely to catch a ferry or a boat over to wherever it is they're going. We see that Erebos has managed to summon Viren's ghost, spirit, astral projection into his prison. And I feel like the chances are pretty high here that the dude's going to go mask off and reveal how he's going to screw over Viren and that there's nothing that Viren can do about it. I really do think that's a very realistic possibility. We then see the villain team paddling down a river, and here is where the art style really starts to excel for me. It's really vivid, really vibrant. I love it. And then we see Claudia battle a dragon, it would seem. Kind of small dragon, guess it's a youngster. And I think the clips pretty much show that she's going to come out the victor of that clash and likely kill that dragon, or at least make it suffer, probably harvesting the poor thing for dark magic parts. And then we see Ezran giving a speech to, I guess, the assembled dragon population of Zadia. And I know that this is probably meant to be epic and exciting, but his voice, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me in this context. I just think a grand speech, it needs to be stronger, maybe have some echo effects. It sounds like he's talking to his counselors about the best plan of action, not giving a hype speech to get the dragons to help fight. I know the character's still meant to be a kid, but this voice just does not sound kingly. You can still sound young whilst having authority, whilst being the voice of reason and wisdom. What do you reckon? Because I really don't know. How can they improve that? We then see Claudia doing some more dark magic shenanigans, much to Viren's shock, so I'm guessing she's gone up yet another power level. And once again, I just think this season's going to heavily lean on her getting maybe addicted to dark magic, like early season Viren was. Becoming one of those people that just assumes that it can solve all of your problems just like that. We then see some clips of Erebos being all evil and whatnot, just hyping us up a little bit. We see Janai crying about her sister, having nightmares about her murder at Erebos' hands. We see our heroes facing off with an enemy that we can't quite see, but is clearly there. And it's also the classic Avengers team-up pose where the camera pans around them and it's all epic. We then see Ezran walk up to a giant sea dragon, I'd assume. That looked pretty epic. I love the design choice for this dragon. Sort of like a dinosaur, sort of like a frill-neck lizard. So I'm really excited to see even more. And hopefully this character has some relevance to the show and isn't just a one-and-done sort of thing like the Earth Dragon was. And then over the top of all of this is Rayla posing the question. Should they not catch up to Claudia, Terry, and Viren and prevent Erebos being freed? How do they even kill a Star Touch elf? And first up, quite dark, going for the kill. I like it. Second up though, and I hope this is just a rhetorical question, because ultimately, if the main villain is some Giga Chad who can't be killed except by a super special technique or weapon or plot device, for me it's less interesting, less fun, makes him less impressive if he's impossible to kill, not because he's a super powerful mage and warrior, but because of his biology. And so I really hope they don't go down that route. It just makes things less interesting and lowers the stakes because they can only beat him using one specific thing. So therefore, every time they fight him, if they don't have that weapon or technique or whatever, they can't win, not truly. We then have more road trip stuff from Claudia, Terry, Viren, and Sir Sparklepuff. And from what we're seeing here, I feel like we'll be having more than a couple of episodes where Viren's out for the count, and Claudia, Terry, and Sparklepuff are just going to be having their own grand adventure, out there trying to get to the location to free Erebos. Although once again, these scenes just make me so certain that Erebos is going to pull a fast one on them once he gets out and just let him die. Viren's having all this psychological torment done to him inside his own mind, the hallway, the mirror. It's like something out of a demonic horror film. And then Erebos is straight up giggling about how Viren's time is almost up. Certainly doesn't strike me as the words or the actions of somebody who gives a damn about his life, that's for sure. We then see Callum and Rayla combine an attack, which looks pretty cool. Looks like we're going to be having a battle on the high seas. And I've been watching Pirates of the Caribbean recently, so the prospect of that crossed with Dragon Prince, it has me intrigued. On top of that, we get another reminder that Rayla's parents are gone and they're going to be needing freeing at some point. And yay, parents, but also didn't they straight up give her up for adoption pretty much? Left her to be raised by Runan and what's his name? And aren't those two just a whole nother kettle of fish? 2 deadbeats, 1 attempted murder, and 1 magical disowning alongside your whole village and everybody you've ever known. What a lovely culture they have. Do they have the guts to address all these story points? I very much doubt it. She's going to be all happy families as soon as they're back, and they'll all hug and cry and forget about all of that. But still, I think Rayla has so many reasons to be mad at literally every single member of her family and people. Screw all of them. Next up, we get a look at what I assume is a water elf. Is that a water elf? If so, look at how nice and Chadley and beautiful every other elf we see is. Look at that. Look at the sun elves, the earth elves, the moon elves, the star elves. Oh, look at that. They all look normal, ethereal, magical. Then you have the water elves looking like freaky little gremlins. They're little goblins. Oh, you'd feel ripped off, wouldn't you? But jokes aside, from a design point of view, I think this variety, it's actually really clever and well done. I'm excited to see more, although not a huge fan of the voice. That one's going to get grating, I guarantee. We then see more magic on the high seas. It looks like the younger, traitor brother of Janai is teaming up with the blind, angry former Dragon King. Can't imagine those 2 losers are going to have much success doing whatever they're doing, but okay. We have a romantic kiss and the romantic cuddles times 2. And yep, looks like Raylan is back on the menu. Good. Honestly, I think at this stage, let's just forget that terrible plot-contrived breakup ever happened, and we'll never talk about last season again, or the book, or the time skip. Ugh, what were they thinking? Our heroes then fight a werewolf-looking thingy. I don't know, but it looks pretty cool. Whilst Viren dives down into the depths of the sea to try to rescue Claudia. So this is either going to be a metaphorical ocean depth to represent her fall into darkness with him trying to pull her out, or it could be just legit. After all, this book is about the ocean. Also, we've seen a lot of focus on Claudia and Viren, but I really hope they get round to showcasing Soren in that dynamic. Remember? The brother/son. Last season did not do it justice. So let's hope that's one of the things they improve. And then we finish up with some rando. Maybe it's a rando, I don't know. Maybe we've seen that character before, but I can't remember. And she's slaughtering some fire elves and the Catullus Guard. Rest in peace to those dudes. Not much else to say about that other than, looked pretty cool. Cool action, cool weapon. You go, girl. And so yeah, not much else to say other than that. Otherwise, I'll just start rambling on. So with all that being said, these are just my opinions, and now I'd like to hear yours. What did you think of the trailer? You like it, hate it? You excited for the next season? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and Let me know.